Welcome in, everybody. How are we today? It's the weekend. That means GTRC is back on our big screens. So what do we have going on today, Ghost? Let me tell you, it's finale night here from our GTRC Audi TT Cup Series, and we have a battle. Boy, do we have a battle tonight. We'll bring that up on the screen in just a second, and we'll break this thing down. But today we're here for a 1-hour endurance race, and it's going to be at Road Atlanta. We're going to finish it off with a doozy. It's going to be a fun little spicy racetrack here with these TT Cup cars. I think it's a very well suited racetrack for these TT Cup cars, and I think we're going to see a lot of fun here today. It is the racing hard tires required. No mandatory pit stops, but with it being an hour-long endurance race here at 3 times tire and fuel, that means the drivers are going to have to make pit stops. So is it a 1 or a 2 stop style race? That's what we're not sure, and we're about to find out. So welcome in, everybody. We have 10-minute warning from race control. So let's get through what we got going on. Welcome in, everybody. This is going to be a good race today. You definitely want to get this liked and shared right away. Get your friends in here because we are going to see some pretty good stuff on the track. And this is why. Here's our point standings. After this... Oh, is that right? That's not the right set of standings. Hold on. Let me update that set of standings. I'm trying to set this up, and it's not even the right set of standings. So a little streamer magic, and we will correct that in just a moment. There we go. So after 7 rounds of racing, ladies and gentlemen, this is how it all breaks down. We have Dougbarrow and Pigems tied for the championship lead. In third place is Mike 1972, only 2 points behind, and then there's a dark horse who we marked there at 85 points. That's a pretty big stretch. So this battle has come between 3 drivers, and these 3 drivers are only separated from this title by 2 points, ladies and gentlemen, 2 points. So whichever one of these 3 drivers basically finishes ahead of the other 2 drivers today essentially will win this championship. Now, with that being said, Mike 1972 has a little bit more work to do than that. He needs to finish at least 2 positions ahead of both those drivers in order to take the title, or of course secure that fastest lap point, and a race win will also help him put himself in the conversation for this racing title. But today it is down between 3 drivers. And at the end of this race, when the checker flag waves, that driver will become our GTRC champion. So I can guarantee you, we are in for a doozy. So we do have Subi Mark there in 4th place with 85 points. We got Hair Razor in 5th with 79 points from Team Rad. We got ERA's Ishmael there with 62 points coming in halfway through the season, very quickly climbing the ranks. Happy Pappy here tied for 7th place with Supra with 53 points. In 9th place is Type Bar with 47 points, Bar 27 with 46. We've got Tap there in 11th with 36 points, Badass with 32 points, Ricky Baldy with 22 points, Ken Neely with 12, Fast Ginger with 10, and Snozzer with 5 points here this season. So that's kind of how it all stacks up here today. All right. Looks like we have, I'm going to say 9 cars currently right now in pit lane. And potentially some more coming out of the paddock here. Yep, we are getting about 6 minutes away from our race setting. So there is no qualifying today, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, it is going to be based off of our championship standings. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be a reverse grid, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll have to wait to see how race control lines our racers up. But the battle is going to be between Doug, Pigems, and Mike 1972 here tonight. We know, if we've been following the series, that the 3 drivers are extremely closely paced, and there's still everybody else in the field to throw a wrench in the program for these 3 as well. So we are in for a good night of racing tonight. So let's talk about Road Atlanta real quick. It is a 2.5 mile racetrack, 4.06 kilometers. It has 12 left and right hand corners. It is a tarmac road surface, and it's a real world circuit. Obviously Petit Le Mans and all the great events that happen there every year. And we have the elevation change of about 125 feet from its highest point to its lowest point. And we do know that it's a little up and down, some undulating sectors in this racetrack. And it's a very short, technical little racetrack. Kind of looks like a drumstick. And again, really, really, really well suited for these Audi TT Cup cars, in my opinion. There's not a lot of big, huge straight line runs here on this track, except for when you come out of the sector to get towards the final chicane. But other than that, it's a lot of technical, and these little front wheel drives are little turn machines. So they do pretty well on these little technical racetracks. So this is going to be a fun day of racing here today. We have another one of our drivers just coming out of the paddock here now as well. So the drivers are most certainly getting ready to jump on track here. All right, so welcome in everybody. Hope we're all ready for a doozy here today. Got Miss D up in the house saying let's go. Got Rob Heck coming in with a like over on the Facebook as well. Welcome in everybody. Nolander with the carrier. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget to take part in our polls here today as well, please, ladies and gentlemen. We're definitely curious to see what you guys think while we're watching the live stream here today. Go Pigems. This has quali. Oh, my bad. So we are qualifying here tonight, I guess. I thought we were setting up wrong, but I've got the series information wrong from the Group 2 series, so that's my fault. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Race control coming in and correcting me on that, so we appreciate that. Alright, so we will be let in with a qualifier, so it's probably going to be 3 laps, if I had to guess, or 4 here today for these guys. And the same deal as it always is here from the GTRC. We'll see the drivers go out, they'll run a designated amount of laps, hot laps around the racetrack, and then they will pull off the racetrack at the end of turn 1 in a designated spot, wait for everybody to finish their qualifying, and then we will set the race up. So I do apologize for the wrong information there. Three total laps. So there'd be an out and 2 hot laps here for our drivers today as well, and not a lot of room for error with that being said. So you're basically going to get your out lap, so that's going to try and get your tires warmed up, but we are running on the racing hard tires, so it's going to take that first flying lap to essentially kind of really get the tires to start doing what you want them to do, and then it's going to be that second flying lap that the drivers are really going to be leaning on to get their optimal best time around the track to set their races up here today. So that's kind of how I would approach qualifying if I were in the grid here today. We would use the out lap to just do everything I can to get those tires warmed up as much as I can, use a flying lap to get the rhythm of the car, and then send the last lap, and hope you don't make that mistake. Got a like up in the Facebook as well from Madeline, appreciate you. Alright, so welcome in everybody. We are live on 3 different channels here today, but I only have 2 dashboards on, so if I am not seeing YouTube GT45 Gaming comments, I apologize. It's because my software is not updating my comments. So far, it looks good, though. All right, so I have noticed some changes on Facebook recently on my end of Facebook, anyways, on the back end of Facebook, and it leads me to the hope that maybe we're going to see a resurgence in Facebook gaming again, which would be fantastic. And the only reason why I think now this is not under anything that I've seen, read. There's no validity behind this for any of the viewers watching. This is just a personal thought process of my own. But when setting up the live streams now with our software, it's reverted back to the way we used to have to do it when it was an actual Facebook gaming app and not just the Facebook live streaming platform like it is now. So that would be fantastic if that would happen. I really hope that would be the case for sim racing content creators, because that will really lock down our the way that the pages grow again. So we do appreciate the likes and shares, especially over on Facebook. It's a very tough platform now because we're not separated as gaming creators anymore. We're out there against all the real life content there as well. So we really do appreciate our supporters over there on Facebook. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. I feel like we might be reverting back to a gaming Facebook gaming platform style app here again, based off of the way the back end is starting to play out here again. But that's just a personal opinion. There's no validity or any real information, say, coming from Facebook or anything like that. It's just a feeling and a hope. But that would be fantastic if we could do that, because that would just make these races bigger and better. That's what we're always looking for. All right, so we have a lobby reset here. So let's move over to the big. There we go. And let's get ready to do some racing. Alright, there's the call. So we will be under qualifying conditions here very shortly. And you can see some of the drivers starting to exit pit lane here. So you have to be careful on exit here too. You have to watch that pit lane. You don't want to cross that line and get that penalty. But it is going to be Dougbarrow that's going to lead us out here, and I'm not surprised. That's usually the way Doug likes to be the first guy out in qualifying. He likes to have as much open air as he can get, and it's not a terrible strategy here. So Dougbarrow is going to lead us off here, and he is, quote-unquote, technically our series championship points leader, tied with Pigems right now. So we have 2 championship points leaders here right now as we start qualifying in our finale here tonight. And this has been a great series. It's been a really great lead-up leading into our finale here, and really it doesn't get any better than a 3-way battle for top dog spot. So I can't wait to see how this all shakes out here today, but I'm sure it's going to be a doozy. Pigems second out on track. We got Hair Razor third out on track. We got Type R fourth out. We got Bar 27 fifth out. We've got Pappy sixth out. We got Super seventh out. We got Subi eighth out. We got Tap ninth out. And we got Mike 1972. He always comes out last on track. That's a part of his qualifying strategy here, and it has worked out quite well for him all season long here so far. So Hair Razor coming out of 10B there is going to pick up a half-second track limit penalty as he went wide on the exit there, and Dougbarrow, sorry, and that is not ideal for his first of 2 flying laps here around Road Atlanta. So he is definitely going to have to use this as a tire warm-up lap, and he's only going to get 1 more crack at this. Got Pigems in behind there in second, and everybody's kind of spaced themselves out relatively well here, so hopefully everybody gets a good run of quality here and gets their absolute best crack at their best time today. That's what we love to see on finale night especially. So here we go. It is Dougbarrow out, and with that half-second penalty, that's going to put Pigems pretty tight on him here, and of course that will drop Doug down the field a little bit here after this first time through our road course today, but that can all change in our next flying lap here. So you're going to serve this penalty, and this penalty is going to cost him here. You'll see Pigems will close in, and the group will close in on him a little bit here, but he has enough of a gap there where it shouldn't interfere with the flying cars in behind as well, but it's definitely going to cost him about 3/4 of a second there, having to serve that penalty on this particular attempt at lap time here. And again, not ideal, but still going to have another crack at it. So let's see as he comes around here. Gets a nice, good sweeping exit. You got to really nip this corner here. A little bit of lag coming there from Doug, so it is going to be pole for the time being, but then Pigems is going to take that away. Hair Razor is going to jump into second place. Type R is going to move up into third. We got Bar 27. He's going to take third place away here. Happy Pappy will be our next driver through here, and he's going to sit in seventh there. Subi Mark moving into the second position. We got Supra here now. Let's see what Supra's got. Supra is going to stay in ninth position there, and Mike 1972, who's just coming through here, is going to end up in seventh place. All right, so there we go. So Dougbarrow in eighth place there with that penalty. You can see how important it is not to pick up a penalty in qualifying here, and you definitely don't want to do it 2 times in a row, because it is going to be the only attempt he's got left here, as it's just 2 hot laps for these drivers today. So we're going to stick with Dougbarrow as he comes through, and then we'll jump back on to our current pole sitter, who's just right in behind him there, Pigems, and that's an ideal position right now for Pigems, as he's tied with Dougbarrow for the championship points lead. He's got some positions on him, but now no penalty here for Dougbarrow as he's coming around, so just needs a nice clean sector here, 10A, 10B, and 11. And he's got a good line through there here, and he should be okay as he's on the exit, and nice good tidy line through there. So let's see what Dougbarrow has here, and then we'll jump over into Pigems in behind. And it was good enough for second place there. Pigems is going to improve his pole sitting time. Hair Razor is going to come through. He's not going to find that improvement there. Let's see what Tap has here as he's coming up. He's also just in behind Supra there, I believe. And we'll see where he's come through. The Hot Wheels car out on track today. Love to see it. Love to see it. Supra's just up ahead there. Does not improve. Tap moves up into third position there. So let's go find Mike. He is our third place driver in the championship, and it's going to be good enough for 7th position here for him. So that is not necessarily ideal for him, but he did state in the podium interviews after the last round here in the Audi TT Cup Series 2 weekends ago that qualifying is not necessarily his strong suit, but once he gets into the race, everything changes, and that is pretty true to what we've seen from Mike 1972 here so far this season. So he is the dark horse in a sense here in this title fight tonight, but he is most certainly more than capable to take this championship away from Pigems and Dougbarrow here tonight as well. So this is going to be interesting to see. All right, gonna do a quick check on our platforms here, make sure everything is moving good. You can see Pigems is just sitting on track here, so it is going to be Pigems in pole position with teammate Subi Mark in second place beside him. Row 2 is going to be Tap with Dougbarrow here right beside him. Row 3 is going to be led in by Hair Razor, and lined up beside him will be Bar 27. In row number 4 will be Mike 1972, third place in the points, and Type R lined up beside him. And then finishing off our field here in row number 5 will be Superboy and Happy Pappy. So there we go, our pole sitter. He's got the Dale Earnhardt livery out here today, and he is ready to go. We got Chris coming up there with the thumbs up on the stream as well. Good luck, Racer, says Antoine. Nolander saying let's grow. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget the poll, everybody. Don't forget the polls. Let's definitely smash those polls today. Let's see who you think is going to win this race today. Alright, so we should be about a minute or so away from race start here. So in the meantime, let's head back over here. And let's talk about Road Atlanta just a little bit more here. So turn 1 has a kink before the turn, making the entry a little tricky. The tarmac compression in the midsection of turn 1 offers additional traction after passing the compression in the track. Traction will return to normal. Drivers will need to be aware of that. In the Cup car, what that creates is a little bit of understeer in these front wheel drive cars, and what that'll do is it'll actually push the car out wide, so the drivers definitely need to be hyper aware of exactly what that statement just stated right there. And then our second note there is the apex for turn 3 is somewhat hidden thanks to to the cresting hill in turn 2. The apex is difficult to see until drivers are nearly right on top of it, which can make the turn in for turn 3 very difficult to get right. Drivers will need to use reference points to help ensure the proper car placement, and of course, especially in the heat of battle, you're really going to want to have an alternative line through that corner in your mind as well. Then turn 5 is difficult to get right for many reasons. It's sharper than it looks, the elevation is changing, and the T5 run out room. Drivers may find themselves fighting with the car, the track, other drivers. All drivers will have to assess a risk versus reward. When coming through this corner, we do see lots of pass attempts through this corner, because if one driver just gets it a little bit wrong, the drivers in behind get a good run. It's very easy to start making something happen there. Drivers may feel a lack of traction as they come through turn 7. Turn 7 is a very critical turn to get correct because it leads towards the longest straight on the racetrack, and that is absolutely correct. From there, our PSE, or electronic enforced penalty serving zone, is on the longest straight of the track. Drivers who receive penalties will be forced to serve them here, and that is going to cost you about 1.5 times the length of the penalty that you are carrying over your car due to where it is located. Alright, so we are getting ready to send this finale here, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get you back to the big screen and let's go racing. So kick them tires, light them fires. It's champion making time, ladies and gentlemen. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Doug? Is it going to be Pigems? Or is it going to be Mike 1972 here tonight? And we're green, and we are now 1 hour from finding out. So let's go racing. Alright, Pigems is going to lead the pack off the start-finish line. Nice tidy start here from our racers, but now it's going to get interesting. 2 and 3 deep here as we head into turn number 1 as everybody sets up for this very high-speed corner on these very cold racing tires. And everybody makes it through. Now as we head in through the kink and we're down into the S's here, it is Pigems with the lead, Subi Mark in second, we got Tap in third, Doug in fourth, Hairraiser in fifth, Mike in sixth. So Mike up a spot already here on the track. Super in seventh, Type R in eighth, Bar in ninth, and Pappy here in 10th place. So our racers are underway here. We only have one tire compound to be used here today. That's the Racing Hard tire, which makes no mandatory pit stops here in the series, but due to length of our race and the tire and fuel consumption factors here in our race today, we're most certainly going to see at least one pit stop, just due to the simple fact is they're going to run out of fuel if they don't. Alright, so it is Pigems and Mark here in the lead, and they are trying to very quickly pull the gap on the field here. So it is Dougbarrow who's now moved up into the podium position here in third place, has gotten around Tap, and we see Tap and Hairraiser now fighting here for fourth and fifth place, but Mike 1972 is on the move here. He is tucked in right now here in fifth place, and this guy has the most that he has to gain here today. He ultimately needs to win this race to have a shot to beat Doug and Pigems here, so he needs to get moving, and he needs to get moving as quickly as possible, and he is most certainly working on it here very early on in the race. He's going to take a very wide exit there as he in a little bit of dirty air there and manages to hold it together really well, and he is applying some pressure here to Team Rat's Hairraiser right now in fourth place, and this is essentially a four-way battle right now here as Super and Tap have now gotten into the fight here as well, and Dougbarrow is just a little bit up ahead here right now, opening up that gap about a second currently. So we're going to keep our eye on Mike 1972 here for a moment. We're keeping our eye on the leaders just in front here. We can kind of see the whole pack right now from here, so this is a great spot to be actually. Like 1972 purple right now, but I think all the drivers are purple. This is their second lap around, so they're all on a fast lap here currently. Alright, this is a very hard braking zone, and this is turn 7. This is the one that you really need to get right, because as you can see, this is the one that takes us up the longest straight run here at Road Atlanta. It's about a mile run, maybe a little less. Has a little bit of curvature to it, but I mean, these drivers are barely turning the steering wheel, and this sets up for a downhill braking zone into a chicane. So there is opportunity to see moves be made here as well. And as we say that, we're just going to peek on everybody as we enter into the chicane here to see if anybody's going to attempt that move. And there we go. We got a little side-by-side action there between Bar 27 and Happy Pappy. Happy Pappy's going to cut the corner a little extra there and have to revert back in behind Bar 27 there. And I think that was Pappy trying to attack Bar 27 for position there. And we just, Bar 27 taking the defensive line through the corner there. But it is Pigems and Subi Mark here as they continue up the racetrack. and Dougbarrow very close behind, 1 second. Hair Razor is 1.4 seconds in behind the podium pack here right now, and he's still got Mike 1972 very close in behind, but now Supra is tight tucked in here on Mike 1972, so potential battle for 5th place here brewing between Supra and Mike 1972, and Mike is not ideally wanting to be having to go in a defensive motion here right now, as he is again trying to gain as much track position as quickly as he can, because the more time that this race continues and he continues to have to chase the pack, it is going to be less time at the end of the race for him to be able to use his strategy and try to gain those positions on those drivers up in front. And you know that the drivers in the lead are also thinking about strategy today. Every little decision that our racers make today are going to 100% matter in the outcome of this race today. So it is Pigems in the early lead with Subimark in 2nd place. Now this is our tied for 1st in championship points and our 4th place driver in our championship points here. We've got Dougbarrow, who is the other driver tied for the championship title here, and Team Rad's Hair Razor is our 5th place driver here in the championship. Then we have Mike 1972 2 points behind Pigems and Dougbarrow for the overall championship points lead right now, so 2 points separating that title, and right now Mike 1972 is a few points behind those two drivers here, as he's a couple positions back at the moment, but it is very early on in this 1 hour endurance. We're not even 5 minutes in here, we're just about 5 minutes in, so 55 minutes on the clock, and I believe we're going to see about 40 laps here today, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in around there, could be less. It's just roughly on top of my head real quick, but it is Pigems here, and he's got a 3/4 second gap over teammate Mark here right now in 2nd place, and then we've got Dougbarrow here 1.5 seconds in behind here in 3rd place, and he's got teammate Hair Razor in behind. So this is really starting to get interesting here. Actually, we've got 2 teammates up in 1st and 2nd place here trying to continue to open the gap up on the pack, and this is perfect right now for Pigems and sitting in 1st place, as he's got a car in hand between him and Dougbarrow. And then you have Dougbarrow, who's got his teammate Hair Razor just a second in behind now, starting to catch into that toes. So this is almost becoming a team battle here in a sense right now, to try and push these drivers up to the front of the field over their competitors. This is going to be an interesting race. And then we've got the independent man Mike 1972 here. He doesn't have a teammate here to give him the push and give him the bump and run here when it's needed. He is doing this all on his own right now. So this is kind of what is shaping up in this race right now. This is a beautiful setup here from our racer so far in the first 6 minutes of this race. So let's see how it shakes up. I don't think we're going to see a lot of battling between the 2 Team Rad drivers, and I really don't think we're going to see a lot of battling between the 2 1010s drivers. I think that this is strategy. I think that this is by design right now, and it's going to make for a good race. It's going to make for a good race. Pit strategies are definitely going to be an important factor here today. Got bar 27 here in 8th place, type R. So bar 27 is just navigated around type R here. So bar 27's up a spot on the racetrack. And then we've got Pappy in 10th place here. So no matter what, all our racers are getting top 10 points here today too in our finale, which is always a plus. So all is a win here today for all of our racers, really, at the end of the day, and a lot of the racers know where they stand in the position and in the standings, and today's race is really based off of where they feel and they can finish and where they feel they need to finish. So the pace and the aggressiveness and the strategy of our drivers comes down to exactly all those factors. In Pigems' case here, he needs to win, outright overall win here today. Fastest lap point is going to be super important between these 3 drivers here today, between Pigems, Dougbarrow, and Mike 1972. That is a bonus point. That is an ever so important point when you have such a deadlock in the championship like this. 105 points for Pigems, 105 points for Dougbarrow, and 103 points for Mike 1972. So that fastest lap bonus point is so crucial in our race here today before we crown our champion. But boy, that Earnhardt livery sure looking sharp out on the racetrack here right now. And 1010 Subimark here for sale sign on his Audi, so it looks like he's ready to get rid of that thing after the series. So anybody looking for an Audi TT Cup car, just hit up Subimark there, and he's got one for sale by the looks of it. We've got Dougbarrow here in 3rd place. That's fantastic. I love that. I love that. Here in 3rd place, and he's got to put a second gap on his teammate Hair Razor here right now, so he's got just a smidge more pace over Hair Razor at the moment, and that's not necessarily helping Doug at the moment close that gap faster, but it's not necessarily hurting him either. Got Mike 1972 here in 5th place, and he's got Supra and Tap. Ooh, closing back in. He catches a track edge right there, and that is going to throw the back end of his Audi right around. He keeps it on track. That was a great job there, keeping it on the tarmac there, but he potentially going to lose out to Tap here in 7th place as well, and that was definitely not ideal for Mike 1972. He was trying to track up to Hair Raiser in 4th place there. Now finds himself in a battle for 6th place here on the racetrack. So just caught the track edge under braking. We've seen the back end slide out. Now, an issue with these front wheel drive TT Cup cars is that sometimes the back tires on a certain racetrack, they get cool, which means they don't maintain a consistent temperature in the tires, which affects the rear grip on these cars. And when you get just a little bit of instability or a little bit of extra body roll in the cars around the corner, and you see exactly what we just seen out of Mike 1972 here. He caught the grass, that shifted the weight to the car quickly, and because those rear tires aren't necessarily up to the same temperature as the front tires, the lack of grip there, and the back end just slid out on him there, and it was a great save. But now he's in behind Super, trying to chase him back down and having to deal with Tap in behind in 7th place, trying to attack as well. So tough position here right now for Mike 1972 here on the racetrack. Alright, so Pigems and Mark here. It's about 3/4 of a second right now on the racetrack. We've got Dougbarrow here in 3rd place. We've got Hair Raiser here in 4th. Hair Raiser's closing in kind of here back in towards Doug. It's he closes into the slipstream, but then he just gets on the tail end of the slipstream here. And you can see top 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers aren't separated by that much. About 6 seconds on the racetrack right now. So lots can happen here on this track yet today. Almost 10 minutes in now. So we're in little 5-minute intervals. The gaps haven't changed. Pigems and Soupy Mark, no matter how hard they've been trying here, just cannot seem to drive away from this pack right now. And Dougbarrow's doing a great job in 3rd place here at pacing them. But it's 2 seconds now, so I mean, it's slowly growing, but it's not growing, I think, as quickly as I'm sure that the race leader would like to see right now over Dougbarrow. But 2.5 seconds is a little bit of a cushion for a driver to make a small mistake and still maintain your position, but it is definitely going to add to some of the pressure you're feeling from behind if you make that mistake. Soupy Mark now taking fastest lap currently on the racetrack with a 26.286 as well here, so that will essentially take that bonus point out of the equation here for the time being as it stands currently on the track, but I'm sure we'll potentially see that change throughout our race here, as we're still very early in our race as well. Now, with that being said, obviously pit stops are going to factor in. We're only a sixth of the way through the race, and our drivers are used about 30% of their fuel for the most part here, so we're going to see probably pit stops at the 30-minute range of this race, or if we're going to see two-stop strategies, we'll see pit stops in about another 9 to 12 minutes time. So that's going to kind of be our indicator on whether or not drivers are going to be on a two-stop or a one-stop strategy here today, and you know how that relates to time on the racetrack overall, I'm not sure, but it is definitely going to be the two strategies that are going to come at play the most. It's going to be a 1 versus 2 stop, which one's quicker. With the 2 stop strategy, essentially with the advantage on the 2 stop strategy is you can take a smaller load of fuel on each pit stop, which essentially should make the car lighter and be a little less aggressive on these racing hard tires as well. You should be able to put faster laps in. However, you have to make the extra pit stop, which means you have that extra pit stop time added into your race. The 1 stop, that's exactly where the advantage on the 1 stop comes. You only have the 1 pit stop delta to deal with over the 2 pit stop deltas of the 2 stop, but you do need to take a larger load of fuel, and you do need to somewhat maintain your racing car to make sure that you have enough fuel and tire to get to the end of the race and potentially still have something to fight with at the end of the day as well. So that is kind of the advantages and disadvantages of our 2 strategies here today, and I don't think we'll see anything varying from those strategies either here. So Pigems and Mark are 3 seconds, so they gained a lot here on this lap now over Dougbarrow, and I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of difference in car condition right now between the top 4 or 5 drivers, really, essentially. So Supra's doing a great job here, still holding off the charge of Tap in behind, but Tap is now just going to pull out here. But this is essentially a drag race between cars that are exactly under the same conditions. So this is a one-make series, meaning all the machinery is the exact same. The only difference is the drivers behind the wheels of these cars. So Supra and Tap here fighting it out as we head into 10, and 10A and 10B, essentially. Sorry, pardon me. Super is going to defend the position here from Mike 1972, or Tap, but Tap is going to come back with a beautiful over-under as we come over the hill into turn 11 here, or turn 12 here, pardon me, and he's going to get the job done. So a nice attack there from Tap as Super defended well. Tap slowed up, got a good run out of the chicane, came up over the hill, and just took the underside line there to get the job done heading into the final corner. So that was a great pass there by Tap, and a good defense there by Super as well, but did not see the secondary attack coming from Tap there, and position change. So R27, he's about 3.5 seconds in behind those guys here right now. We got Type R in 9th place, and we got Pappy here just 2 seconds in behind him here in 10th position as well. So it's a very calculated finale here tonight from our drivers. I wasn't sure if we were going to see a lot of elbows out, hard fighting racing from these drivers, or if we were going to see a calculated race like we are seeing here today. So this is going to be the calculated race here today, and it's going to come down to penalties, mistakes, and that is potentially what it's going to come down to here. Pigems doesn't make many, Doug doesn't make many, and Mike 1972 typically doesn't make any either. We've seen one small mistake out of him here so far today, and that has cost him here early on in this race. So Pigems half a second over teammate Subi Mark here right now in 2nd place. We've got Doug still trying to not let the gap continue to grow. Essentially, he's still holding that gap at 3.1 seconds this time around. Hairraiser is 1.9 seconds in behind Doug here, so he's actually losing pace a little bit on his teammate, and that's allowing Tap now to close in here, and Tap is starting to fall into a rhythm here. It looks like he's really kind of seeking and destroying, and his license plate may say it all here today, as he is absolutely flying here and putting the pressure on Team Rad's Hairraiser here right now. He is all over the back bumper of that green, purple, and white Audi at the moment here. Let's see if he's going to take a move up into the inside here, and he's going to take a look, but he can't get the position. So here we go, heading into the essentially a double apex hairpin. Essentially is how you kind of take this turn, take a couple of late apexes on it, and get the best exit possible into this long run. So we're going to see him in the slipstream here. Now do we see him try to make a pass on Hairraiser, and do we see Hairraiser attempt to defend? Now we've seen Tap make a pretty nice pass on Supra in this sector just a couple laps ago. So let's see if we see that same idea from Tap here up against Hairraiser, and we got Mike 1972 in behind Supra there looking to do the same thing. So he's going to take that big entry, and he's going to go under again. And are we going to see it 2 times here? And he is going to get that position in on Hairraiser, and this is now going to give Tap 4th place. That was a beautiful setup and execution. Hairraiser tried to defend it there, but Tap still got it done. But now Hairraiser is going to attack up the inside into turn 1, but he doesn't have the position. He's just going to tuck in behind Tap here, and Tap has gotten the job done. So now he is moving up towards Dougbarrow in 3rd place. Great pass there from Tap. And right now, this man is the guy we should all be watching here on track, I think. Got Super here in 6th place. We got Mike 1972 in 7th. He tried the same thing heading into the chicane there, but it looked like Super defended the position on Mike here. Got Bar 27 in 8th place, almost going for a ride down the hill there, but he keeps it underneath of him. We got Type R in 9th. We got Pappy in 10th place. So it is Pigems here, and he's got half-second gap over his teammate Super Mark here, and then the gap to 3rd place from there is 3.7 seconds. So it's not too hard to see here that 2nd place is not trying to take 1st place away from 1010's Pigems here. He is currently right now just sitting there in behind, working with his teammate, trying to help him push him further up the racetrack and just continue to open that gap. So this is good strategic racing coming from these two here right now. And then you got Dougbarrow. He is just moving. He's pushing. He's trying to keep the gap minimal here to these guys and see what happens after the pit stop sequence here. But currently right now, they have a 3.7 second gap over the field. And Dougbarrow is that field trying to catch up right now, but he has Tap closing in, and Tap is closing in quickly. I mean, we're talking, he's made 2 passes and just continues to close the gap up. So 2 seconds now dropping. So Tap is on a rail here right now around Road Atlanta, and he looks like he is in the best race car on the track currently right now. 1.8 seconds being that gap here. Got Hair Razor in 5th place, and he's starting to feel some pressure here behind now from Supra and Mike 1972 in 6th and 7th as well. So 3-way battle for 5th place developing here in behind Doug and Tap. And nothing doing quite at the moment here, but if an opportunity does arise, or Hair Razor very defensive coming into the corner, and Mike seeming to be struggling with that sector a little bit there as he almost slid through that corner again there, but he stays right in there with the group, and he's not going to lose touch with him here. But good little 3-way battle happening here between these drivers, and you can see Tap has just got enough of a gap there where he doesn't need to worry about these guys immediately anyways. As we head into the chicane, you can see Tap is closing in on our 3rd place driver here as well. So interesting things brewing on our racetrack here. Are we going to see a dark horse winner on our racetrack today? And Super does have some position here on Hair Razor as we come up through again that final chicane, and Mike is going to get involved. Hair Razor is going to go wide. We got tires bouncing off each other here. This is becoming a very scrappy 3-way battle here for position. Mike's now up the inside of Hair Razor. Hair Razor settles back into Mike. Mike gets the position from Hair Razor. Mike moves himself up into 6th place. Now he's trying to chase Supra. That was a very elbows out battle right there between these 3 drivers as some mistakes were made, and 3 cars fighting for a very small amount of space on the racetrack there, but everybody gets through safe and sound, and that really is what matters. So let's move up into the front ladder part of this battle here now between Mike 1972 and Supra, and that was what Mike 1972 needed here. He needed to continue to move upwards of the racetrack, and now he's on the outside of Supra here, and he hasn't really been struggling with this particular sector here, and he's going to be on the dirtier side of this corner as well. So a little wiggle under braking there from Supra, and that's going to allow Mike 1972 to get the job done on the outside, and good resilience there from Mike 1972, and he finds himself now up into 5th place, 4.8 seconds behind that first podium spot, and the first driver he really needs to finish ahead of here today to give himself a shot at a championship. So we have the drivers starting to show that not desperation, but that need to get moving attitude on the racetrack. So we do have a position change here. We now have 1010 Subi Mark in the race lead, and 1010's Pigems here now in 2nd place. So drivers have swapped positions here, which tells me Pigems either had a penalty or made a small mistake, and Mark just took over the race lead here, and they've basically just switched roles. Mark will now be the lead car, and Pigems will now be the push car here essentially as they continue up the racetrack, and the gap to Doug is 4.2 seconds. So slowly but surely to continue just to open it up a little bit at a time here as the laps progress to tick down. We're at 21 minutes into this race, and we're going to start seeing pit stops if we're going to be seeing 2-stop strategies at any moment in the race. We just seen a pit stop from one of our drivers there, I believe. I'm not sure. We'll see when we get through the field here. We have Tap in 4th place, and he has closed up on Dougbarrow very, very quickly here. So now within striking distance of our 3rd place driver here is Tap, and the Hot Wheels car is moving today. I tell you what, this boy is just cruising here at Road Atlanta, and he is in the slip. So he's close enough here to potentially maybe try and attack Doug coming into the chicane here, 10A and 10B. So let's see what happens here as we get into the braking zone of this sector. And great spot to try and make passes. We've seen a couple of them made here by Tap, and is he going to do the setup here again? He is going to take that sweeping run, but he just wasn't close enough there to make that work. But he does close the distance up to the back trunk there of Dougbarrow, and he is tucked in underneath the rear wing of our 3rd place racer here, and this is now a battle for the last podium position here on the racetrack. As it stands right now, he's going to move up the inside heading into turn 1, but Doug has a great hold on the outside. That's going to give Doug the inside here and should give him the optimal line through the kink, and Doug is going to defend the position here from Tap, but it is battle on for 3rd place here between these two, so we are going to stick with this for a few moments. This is a great little fight we're having here, and Doug is not going to let this go easily. If Tap wants to get it done, he's going to have to fight for it. And this is great news for Pigems up in front right now. This little battle between Tap and Doug is going to cost small amounts of time to Dougbarrow on hit charge to Pigems up in second place here, well ahead of him. So this little battle is ideally working very well right now for Pigems and Mark up in front, leading the pace of the race here. But Tap is just going to tuck himself back into the slipstream, and he is much closer to Doug this time around as we lead up into the final chicane, and he is going to go right alongside Dougbarrow this time. And are we going to see the big setup come from Tap here again? He has made a couple of great passes into the chicane and out of the chicane already here today. Let's see if he does it again. Oh, he's got a little bit of track cut there that could unfortunately give him a half-second track limit penalty there as he comes up over the hill, and he gets very fortunate there that our race officials did not give him a track limit infraction there, but he is still tucked in. And is he going to try here again going into turn one? No, he's just going to back off here. He's just going to settle back in behind our third place driver. And this is a very good battle happening here between these two right now. At the 23.5 minute mark of this race, you can see the race leaders are still just up ahead there. They're just heading down the S's right now in front of these two. And Tap trying to assess where he's going to get the move done here on Doug right now. And Doug's doing a great job. He's just parking that car on all the apexes right now and really forcing Tap to make something happen on the outside. But we have seen a couple of drivers make something stick on the outside coming into 6 and 7 here. So let's see if Tap can do something here. Doug's really doing a great job at making that Audi very wide right now coming into the braking zones and not allowing Tap to really get a nose in position on him here to try and force that battle. So Tap really trying to take advantage, and there we go. He really got a pull there that time. You can see he almost clipped the rear bumper of Dougbarrow heading before he pulled out to try and get the job done, but the cars are so equally matched. It is so hard to out drag race each other. And again, we're going to see the big setup here coming from Tap. He's going to take that big run up the hill, but Dougbarrow has been on it here through this sector, and he just has the answer here for Tap right now. And Tap is now in a great battle here for podium right now, and he just can't quite see him get the job done. But he got a run there on Doug coming again into turn number one, and this seems to be the spot that Tap really closes in hard on Doug. So potentially maybe where he's trying to set that pass up here each lap, because he does seem to be just sitting passive in certain sectors of the track and behind our third place driver, waiting for that better moment or that better hole to try and get in on. But he is just a little bit off the back of Dougbarrow, but Dougbarrow gets it a little bit wrong through the S's there. That's going to close Tap right back up. Tap gets a good run uphill here coming out of turn number 5, and he's just on the back door right now of Dougbarrow, and just can't quite get the job done. So it is still Subi Mark in the race lead with Pigems in behind, 5.8 seconds to gap from second to third here. And then Dougbarrow here is doing everything he can to keep Tap in behind him at the moment, because the last thing Doug wants is a car in between him and Pigems up in front right now. He's got it ideal with a car in between him and Mike 1972 right now, who is 8 seconds in behind the pack here right now. And then we got Hair Razor here in 6th place, we've got Bar here in 7th, we got Type R in 8th, we got Pappy in 9th, and we got Supra, who was the driver that we seen make that first pit stop. So it looks like Supra is on that 2-stop strategy here, and it looks like the remaining of our field is going to be on this 1-stop style strategy here today. So the question is, are we going to see these drivers run the cars right down to no fuel and try to minimize the amount of fuel load they take, and that's in their final stops here today, or do they have a designated time frame in their mind on this set of tires and this tank of fuel that they're going to come in and pit? That's the question now with the rest of the strategies. And here we go. This is a battle again for third position here between Doug and Tap, and this has been just ongoing here over the last 4 or 5 laps here. Tap continues to try and make something happen here on our third place driver, but Doug just does not letting him get through. Doug's been doing a great job at defending his position here, but this is costing him big time right now on Pigems. The gap was like 4 or 5 seconds. Now it's almost 7 there at one point, back down to 6.5. So these little spurts of battles here between himself and Tap are costing little tenths here and there, and this is perfect right now for Pigems up ahead chasing. So Tap this time, he's going to find some room on the inside heading into the chicane. And Doug is absolutely just squeezing him as tight as he can right now down into that line. And this is a great fight here as these drivers are fighting for every millimeter of track space here right now, and a little bit of a push through the corner. But this is elbows out battling between these two here, and all is fair in love and war here, where you're battling for podium position in finale night, and this is an absolutely great battle between these two here, and a little bit of a wiggle there coming from Dougbarrow as he comes around the final corner there. And again, Tap is going to get the big charge up into turn 1 on Doug here, but Doug has a little bit of room, so Tap is not going to be able to stick his nose in there. But you can see Tap is just not letting Doug go anywhere. He is like a magnet to the back of that white and purple green Audi right now, and every time he pulls a gap, it just pulls him right back in. So the force is strong with these ones here today as they continue to battle for this final podium position, and Tap again gets a really great run coming up the hill. And is he going to try and set up a pass? Doug is kind of making Tap decide what line to take into these corners by parking his car right in the middle of the racetrack as well, and that's a defensive strategy right there in itself. So by Doug doing that, that forces Tap to change or choose his line before Doug has to choose his line, so that allows Doug to get a little bit of an attempted better determination on what Tap is going to try and attempt to do coming into that sector, and he can then choose his defensive line accordingly. So Doug is playing a very good game here, keeping Tap in behind, but Tap is not giving up on this. He is going to take a look up, show the nose there, but again, Doug has track position right now on Tap, so he just holds to his line here and gets everything right through the chicane, and that allows him to get a good run back down the hill. And Tap again is just going to close up a little bit here on Doug like he always does, and very, very close battle here between the two drivers right now. So nose to tail racing here as we head around, and this might be where the action is here right now. We're just going to stick with our third place battle apparently here, and Tap trying to get up the inside there to get a good line for the kink there. And again, Dougbarrow is doing a great job at reading what Tap is doing in behind here. So a lot to navigate here on Road Atlanta. You can see this is not like you're just in a straight line for a lot of the racetrack. You are constantly having to navigate a corner somewhere, and in this heated battle here for third place, there's a lot of concentration being had by these two racers here right now on the racetrack. This is a good feisty battle right here between these two as well. Alright, let's see what else is happening here on the racetrack. We got Hair Razor and Mike 1972, much of the same thing, nose to tail here in 5th and 6th place. And Mike has not been able to quite get past Hair Razor here. He has been trying for a few laps now as well. Got Bar 27 here. He's kind of in no man's land right now. He's not too far away, but no immediate pressure and no battle for position in front of him. So it's just about running good, clean, quality laps. Type R, much of the same thing here as Bar. Supra, he made a pit stop, so he's behind a little bit by the group, but that will change when these guys make their next pit stop. And then we have Pappy here in 10th, and I think he just made his pit stop. So there we go, our race leaders now coming into pit lane. So Pigems in pit lane, Subi Mark comes into pit lane, Dougbarrow also comes into pit lane. Tap decides to stay out, and well, you can see why. I mean, his car is in great shape here around this racetrack at the 31-minute mark compared to the rest of our field. So very interesting difference in strategies between Tap and the rest of the field. So Mike has also opted to stay out for at least one more lap here as well, so going for the overcut here on the field, and he's kind of really not left with a lot more option at this point if he wants to try and close the gap up to Doug and Pigems up in front, because he needs to gain track position. So the overcut is the kind of deploy he's going to try and use to do that here, but it is Tap leading the charge. He's 10 seconds ahead of Mike 1972, who's got 17 seconds over Pigems, so that puts Pigems overall 27 seconds down from the race lead, which is that enough time after a pit stop? We'll have to wait and find out, but Tap right now is now our overall race leader. Subi Mark is now in 4th place in behind Pigems. We got Supra here in 5th, we've got Doug in 6th, we've got Hair Razor in 7th, Bar in 8th, Type R in 9th, and Happy Pappy here in 10th position. So we still have a couple of pit stops left to go here yet. We got about a little under 28 minutes remaining here in our race today. but it is Tap now leading the race here today. And I tell you what, we really should not discount this driver here today. He has absolutely been moving. Does he have the pace to win the race? It seems that he does. He definitely has the ability to save his race car around this racetrack here today. In comparison to all the other drivers, this guy really seems to have it figured out. Like 1972 here, I mean, he's always a dark horse. He's actually going for another lap around, so he's going for the big overcut here on our race leaders, and they aren't really cutting into that gap either, surprisingly enough. So the gap is still at 27 seconds. Pigems back ahead of Subi Mark here now. And you would assume that when Tap and Mike make their pit stops, that these two are going to assume the race lead back over. But that 27-second gap is going to make it very close, I think. Supra here is 3 seconds ahead of Dougbarrow, so Supra's on a different pit stop sequence than Dougbarrow here as well, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Got Hair Razor here in 7th, we got Bar 27 in 8th, we got Type R in 9th place, and we got Pappy here in 10th position, so here we go. It is Tap leading the race, and I mean, he can probably go 1 or 2 more laps yet, judging by the way that he's been able to save this race car here today. And let's see what he chooses to do here as he comes around the final couple of corners on lap 23 here today. And it looks like he's setting up for a pit stop here. He is, in pit entry here, and he is going to go ahead and make that pit stop. We've got Mike 1972 here doing much of the same thing. I'm assuming, no, he is going to go one more. So Mike 1972 is just doing everything he can here to close that gap up between him, Pigems, and Dougbarrow during this pit stop sequence. So it is Pigems and Subi Mark here as they come around. Are they going to jump over Tap is the big question here right now, because this was the gap. I wasn't sure if they would come out in front or in behind, and they will come out in front, it looks like. Here's the fuel load is in that car here with Tap, so it's just a matter of when are they going to let him out of pit lane at this point. Alright, so Mike 1972 is still leading the race. Now, 27-second gap was not enough to hold off the race leader, so that 17-second gap between Mike and Pigems and Subi Mark is most certainly not going to be enough to come back out in front of him. However, though, it does give him an opportunity to potentially come out in front of Dougbarrow still, and that's important. We have Bar 27 here in 8th, we got Type R in 9th, we got Happy Pappy here in 10th place, but right now, Mike 1972 is our race leader, and if the race were for some reason to finish exactly as is right now, he would have an opportunity potentially to win the championship. I think it would have to come down to a tiebreaker at that point, because right now Tap has fastest lap on track with a 25.894 as well, so that fastest lap point is been taken away from these drivers. Ooh, a wide pit entry there from Mike 1972, and is he going to pay the price from a racing stewards for that? We'll have to wait and find out. So it is Subi Mark here. Subi Mark has gotten around Pigems here. He's going to take the race lead back over from Pigems here as they come around to start lap number 25. We're at the 35.5 minute mark of the race here, meaning we have 24 and a little bit more minutes to go. So plenty to still happen on this racetrack yet here today, and it's Mark and Pigems here leading the charge as we enter the second half of our race here today. So it is Supra in 3rd place, and he's got himself in an ideal position, but again, he's got himself on a 2-stop versus all the 1-stop strategies. He's the only racer on the 2-stop strategy, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out for him. Got Dougbarrow here. He's only 2.3 seconds in behind Supra, and 7 seconds behind the overall lead, so he's not too far back here right now. Tap comes out, he's going to come out 4 seconds behind Doug, and that's fairly significant because Tap, keeping in mind, was battling with Doug for about 10 straight laps before the pit stop sequences started, which meaning he was right there on the back end of Dougbarrow, and now after the pit stop sequence is completed, he's 4 seconds behind Dougbarrow. So that is important to note, because that means Doug gained 4 seconds, so the overcut not working out in Tap's favor here today in that pit stop sequence. Hair Razor here is in 6th place, 7 seconds in behind Mike 1972. Oh, he did pick up the 3-second penalty there for the pit entry, and that is going to seem like an eternity for this driver, and that's going to allow Bar 27 to close up some decent time here on him as well. It's going to be about 4.5 seconds time gain for bar 27, and he's bringing Type R along the way with him there in 9th place, and we got Pappy here in 10th as well. So it is Subi Mark leading the charge here. All right. Just checking on everything, make sure everything is still running good and efficiently. And once we get the computer running, it seems like it does all right, but it is getting that thing to the point to ready to stream. That is a very big issue right now. So we thank our computer for all the hard work it does. Pigems here in 2nd place. We've got Supra still in 3rd, but Doug is closing in here very quickly on Supra now. So Doug looking to get ahead of Supra here before Supra makes that 2nd pit stop, but obviously he wants to try and track in on the 2 guys up in front. This gap is still 7 seconds to the race leader here, however, so he hasn't made any distance up on the overall race leader, just on the 3rd place driver up in front here, and it's still 1 second is the gap between the 2 here right now. But Supra looking to try and get his first podium here this season as well today, but again, looks like to be on the 2-stop strategy, and that when you're in get up against a whole field of 1-stop strategies, that might not have been the ideal call, but we'll see how it plays out. Got Tap is 4.2 seconds back, so he was absolutely sending it there in that first stint, but it was the long run. It seemed to be where his car really picked up as opposed to the early part of the run. So I'm assuming we're going to see much of the same thing again from Tap. We'll see his first handful of laps be a little bit on the slower side, and then we'll see him pick that pace back up again, I bet. But right now it's Pigems back in the race lead here over Subi Mark, and these two continue to exchange the lead back and forth between the 2 of them here. And as the counter starts to wind down to the 20-minute mark here, things are going to start getting serious here in about another 10 minutes time, and the battle will start to ensue here for the overall race win. It's going to be Supra here in 3rd place, and he does have Dougbarrow closing in very quickly here, as he's now very securely in the tow, and that is going to basically pull Doug right up to the back end of Supra here for free. And is Doug going to try and make a move? He is tucked in very tight there, heading into the kink, heading down in towards the braking zone, and we're going to be side by side as we head into 9's 10A, 10B. And Dougbarrow just sends it in real deep, sends it in real long, and just defends that without any cause or issue. So Dougbarrow is going to move up into 3rd place and easily defend the position through the final sector there and just continue up the racetrack. So 7.2 seconds is the gap now to our race leader. Alright, so Tap is 3.5 seconds in behind Supra here, so starting to close in a little bit. We've got Hair Razor here in 6th, we got Mike 1972 in 7th, we got Bar 27 in 8th, we got Type R in 9th, we got Pappy in 10th. Right now, this man is in control of his own destiny here today. He's got 19 and a half minutes left on the clock to continue to keep the pace of the race where it's at, continue to keep the charge of Dougbarrow in 3rd place, and continue to try and keep Subi Mark in between himself and Dougbarrow in 3rd place. So he's got a lot going on here in the race lead with 19 minutes left, but he's cool, he's calm, he's collected here so far today, and the fate is in his hands. His fate is in his hands right now. Dougbarrow is there, and this guy is a very, very quick driver. He knows how to race, and if he can get an opportunity, if he can close in close enough and make this interesting, he will not hesitate to try and take that race win and a championship away from Pigems. But right now, he needs to try and close the gap on those 2 in front, and it is very hard to do, as these 3 have shown very consistent pace here today, and it seems to be very equal between the 3 up in front right now as well. So Supra here in 4th place has just made a pit stop, so he is going to make that final of the 2 pit stops here today for himself, and we'll see where he comes out now. He is going to probably come out in the latter part of the field here, as it's about 30-35 second pit loss, it seems like, per pit stop here today. So Tap is going to move up into 4th place. That puts Hair Razor up into 5th. That puts Mike up into 6th. Supra is coming out in 7th, and looks like it's going to slot in just ahead of Bar and Happy Pappy here. I think he's going to come out very close to Type R there, and he does. Type R actually just shoots through in front there, and you can see Supra has to, he held his line there essentially as these guys came around because they were at speed. Happy Pappy, just a little bit of a mistake coming around the corner. He actually went sideways in behind Supra there and managed to save it, so that was a great save by Happy Pappy as well. So Supra comes out in 9th place, and it's a four-way battle there, actually, for P7 right now between the drivers. So keeping our eye on that battle here over the next few minutes, as well as nothing too crazy happening up front here right now. So let's stick with Type R in 7th place here, as Bar and Supra are very, very close here to the back bumper, and Happy Pappy as well. It's a nice little 4-car train we got here at the 43-minute mark of our 1-hour race here today, and it is Type R leading this final pack here in 7th position as we head into 10A and 10B. That takes us up into turn number 11 right here, and down to our final turn number 12. And here again, you're just trying to not run the curbs, you're just trying to clip that apex a little bit there. That gives you a good run through, and Type R is holding it back here, but Bar 27 is closing in quite quickly. So when you're in a train like this, and as the timer is starting to run down against the drivers here, the clock for the checkered flag, this is when we start seeing the drivers try to find the next level in the paces, when we see them start to step up that offensive attempted driving, and we start to see a little bit more aggressive nature from our drivers here as far as trying to get track position very efficiently and quickly goes. But a little mistake made there from Bar 27 and behind Type R, and that actually compromised his exit, and that's now going to allow Supra here to close back in. So Bar 27 here in 8th, we got Supra in 9th, and we got Pappy here in 10th position. And it's a great little battle here between the 4 drivers right now, but Type R is doing a great job holding the charge here from Bar 27 and behind chasing. Alright, so it's Pigems half a second over Subi Mark here, still in the race lead. They've got 6.5 seconds over Dougbarrow, so Dougbarrow is very, very minimally dipping into the lead here with about 15 minutes and some change left on the clock. It needs to keep chipping away at that time here to give himself a chance. We got Tap's closing in 2.7 seconds here, and Tap really did kind of it changed how big that gap was between Doug and the race leaders here at some point in the race, with that great battle between them two in the first stint for that 3rd place position as well. So it's going to be very hair raiser getting it a little bit wrong here as we come uphill, and he's going to just have a little slide. Got Mike 1972 here in 6th place. We got Type R here in 7th. We got Bar 27 in 8th. We got Super right there in 9th. And Pappy here in 10th position. Alright, it's been a very quiet race here for the most part today. Again, very calculated racing here from our drivers. It's Pigems here in the race lead with Subi Mark in 2nd position. We've got Doug in 3rd, 6.4 seconds, so he is closing 6.8 now to it's a race leader. So slowly but surely Doug is starting to find every little bit that he can in his Audi right now to try and close that battle up. Pigems finishes right now where he is. He will be crowned our champion here for sure today. So Pigems has himself in the right position on track currently right now. We have Tap in 4th place, and he's still about 2.5 seconds in behind. So he's not able to close up the gap on Dougbarrow quite as easily in this stint as he did the first stint. Got Supra in 9th. Got Pappy here in 10th. Alright, here we go. Getting towards that 10-minute mark, ladies and gentlemen, that means that we are nearing the end of our Cup season here. So, it happens so quickly, doesn't it? It happens so quickly. It just seems like yesterday the season is just starting, and then we're crowning a champion. So that means that we're having some fun, I guess, when time flies like that. But you can see Pigems here. He's got a still half-second gap over Soupy Mark in second position, and I would imagine we're going to see these two fight it out here at the end of this race if Mark can close that gap up as well. We've got Doug here in third position, and it's still 6.7 seconds. So currently the way things are looking on the track, barring a mistake from the front two drivers there, Dougbarrow may run out of time before he can close that gap up in time to potentially battle Pigems for the overall race win. We've got Tap here in fourth position. We've got Hairraiser here in fifth. We've got Mike in sixth place. We've got Type R here in seventh place. We've got Supra in behind in eighth. Supra has gotten around bar 27, so a little bit of swapping positions here in this back battle. And Supra has been battling quite well here today. He's been fighting quite well up and down the racetrack here, but the two-stop strategy kind of set him back a little bit in the grid, I think, compared to where he would be if he would have been with the rest of the group on the one-stop strategy here today. So potentially that two-stop has really cost him a top 6 position here, I think, today personally, but that's just me. I'm just a commentator. What do we know? Bar 27 here in 9th. We got Happy Pappy here in 10th. So it is Subi Mark here, and he's got the race lead from Pigems, so he does make the move on Pigems here, coming up the back straight, heading into the chicane, and he's going to take the race lead away from 1010's Pigems here, but Pigems is going to look to respond. No, he's just going to settle back in behind Subi Mark here. Now we've got 11.5 minutes remaining in this race. The battles are starting to happen on track, so we see this a lot in racing lately, because obviously sim racing is becoming a very team-oriented thing as time continues to go on, and sim racing continues to grow very popular in several different platforms. So we see lots of times now in organized racing where you have 2, 3, maybe even 4 drivers from the same racing team. So we do see those teammates typically work together in the early parts of the race. Of course, obviously it's in their best interest to do so, to obviously try and gain the best track position for each of them, and then you typically will see them start to fight it out in the last 10 minutes of this race. So that is what we're starting to see here. We've seen a lot of very good cooperation between the two drivers here up front, between Mark and Pigems, but now it is battle on for the checkered flag here. Now, keeping in mind, Subi Mark is only 20 points out of the equation here too as well, so winning this race and taking that potential fastest lap point, if he can get it back from Tap here, does give him a potential opportunity maybe to get himself into the podium overall in the season as well. So it's not like Subi Mark is not racing for anything here either. He has points on the line, and he is 4th overall in the championship here. He's just not quite in that immediate discussion like Dougbarrow, Pigems, and Mike 1972 were leading into the race, but this win is important here for Mark as well. So it is definitely battle on for the overall race win here today between these two. We got Dougbarrow here in 3rd place, and Doug can only hope that that's the case, that they do start to battle a little bit, because that'll help him close this gap back up. I mean, he has knocked it down to a solid 6.8 here now, but Tap is also starting to linger in the background here, 2.5 seconds back. He hasn't been able to close in on Doug over the last few laps, but he also hasn't been able to, Doug also hasn't been able to lose Tap in the last few laps either. We got Supra here in 7th, we got Type R in 8th, we got Bar in 9th, and we got Pappy here in 10th place. So it is Subi Mark here leading the charge, and again, Pigems there in 2nd place, and behind the gap is 0.5 second. These two haven't really been separated by more than that all race long either, so very equally paced are these two drivers here as well, which is potentially why they have done so well at just keeping that gap big enough to keep the pressure off from Dougbarrow in 3rd place. A little bit of a mistake made there by Doug as he caught a little too much of that inside apex there coming around 7, but he didn't seem to hurt him too much there. Tap gains a little bit of time on him, maybe 0.5 second there, but it's still not quite enough for Tap to get a free pull towards Doug. So Doug right now still has that gap maintained enough where he doesn't need to be worrying about the immediate pressure from Tap, but that point is starting to happen here. We're at 8.5 minutes remaining in this race, and it is starting to kind of amp up a little bit here for some of these positions. Ooh, Hair Raiser Mike 1972 here, also nose to tail, and potential pass here coming from Mike 1972 for 5th place as he goes in super hot into the chicane there. That's going to put him having to check up on the exit, and that should allow Hair Raiser to get a good run back on Mike 1972, but Mike sends it in there, trying to get that position, gets the job done, manages to hold the charge off from Hair Raiser heading to the start-finish line, but now he's got to worry about Hair Raiser heading into turn 1. He does have the inside track there, but Mike is going to just hold the position here through turn 1, and that will be 5th placer for Mike 1972 here late in the race. We got Super now up into 7th place, so he has made some time here on the track. He's now gotten ahead of Type R. Bar 27 also has made his way around Type R and gotten up into 8th place, and Type R now is very close in behind Bar 27 there in 9th, and Pappy rounding out our field here in 10th position. Whew, all right, let's go. It is Subi Mark here in the race lead, and he has Pigems here very close in, and here we go. This is a battle for the race lead here, and Pigems decides to back out there. Is he going to take for the big run up into 10A or 10B here? No. So choosing not to try and pass there. Maybe he felt he wasn't close enough to make that stick, make that work. Didn't want to cost himself and marking out that much time on because Doug chasing in behind. It is a lot of risk versus reward right now for those two drivers up there battling for the race lead, mainly because Pigems has a lot to lose if something goes wrong while battling for that lead. So that was a decision I think we seen there from Pigems as he was thinking about making a move on Mark for the race lead there. I think he decided, you know what, I'm not in the optimal position here. I don't think this is going to be an easy move. I'm just going to settle back in behind here and we'll try it again next time around. That's what I'm thinking we just saw there. But again, you gotta weigh these things out as things are happening to you on the racetrack, especially when you're in the position that some of these racers are in here today. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of things going on in the back of these racers' minds here today, and a half a second track limit penalty right there for Subi Mark, and Pigems doesn't need to think about how he's going to get the race lead back from Subi Mark right now, as he's going to get it just handed to him here as Mark is going to have to serve this penalty here, and you're going to see Pigems just go here, and just that small half second was enough for Pigems to slot back up in front of Subi Mark, but Subi Mark is still close enough in behind Pigems to definitely attack back here with a little under 6 minutes remaining in this race. We're still going to see 4 or 5 more laps here, so there is plenty of opportunity there for that position to be changed yet again on the racetrack. It is Dougbarrow and Tap, and here we go. Tap has closed on Dougbarrow, and it is battle on for 3rd place here now as well. So here we go again, Tap versus Dougbarrow. This was a juicy battle in the first stint, and this is going to finish off to be what looks to be a juicy battle here in our final stint as well. And Tap, he has worked hard to close the gap up all stint long, and he has finally got the job done, and now he's got 5 minutes to make it happen. Can Tap take the podium away from Dougbarrow? Dougbarrow looking like he's already losing that 5th title here from GTRC here today. He's just letting it slip through his fingers just a little bit because he can't quite grab that front pack here today. So close but so far away, so close but so far away, but anything can happen in the last 5 minutes. We are not done till that checkered flag is waved for all 10 of our racers here today. Keeping that in mind, anything is possible. So it is still Pigems. Pigems is 0.4 of a second ahead of Subi Mark here right now. Mark is in the tow, and we're going to have about 3 to go this time around here as our race leaders come through. So Mark is closed in on Pigems. Not close enough to get the move done here right now, but he's definitely close enough to start setting up an attack in a designated area of the racetrack, if he can get close enough, that is. Pigems is a good racer as well, so it is very, very hard to make your way around him. But Dougbarrow has his own problems here right now. It's still 7.5 seconds to 2nd place, and with a 7.5 second gap with 4 minutes remaining, and he's now under pressure from Tap. This is now a battle for 3rd place here for Dougbarrow, I think, here today. So trying to go on the outside is Tap. Doug goes on a defensive move. Tap expected that. You've seen Tap actually pull the old switcheroo on him there, but he was not able to get car position on Dougbarrow, so he still settles in 4th place and behind, but he finds some position there. A little bit of contact there as drivers head through the kink. Doug's just going to get through the grass there, and he's going to come back in front of Tap. Tap. Tap did lift a little bit on the throttle there to allow Doug to come back out in front of him there. You can see Doug is going to scrub those tires off there. Doug's aware that he's going to have dirty tires. It's going to be a very difficult defense here. Now this is definitely a battle between Doug and Tap for sure here for third place now. So a little bit of contact there and driver respect shown there. Tap had a great over under there to get the position going into the kink, but just made some contact there with Doug and felt that was his fault. Doug went a little off track, and now we are going back at it. So you can actually see the push there from Tap to Doug, and that's just oop, my bad, bud, you know. And this is a fair play thing right here between our third and fourth place driver. Tap is waiting for Doug to ensure that his car is 100% back to battle capability before Tap attempts to try this battle again with Dougbarrow. So massive respect right there to Tap. And Doug made the mistake there all on his own. Tap's going to take advantage of that. He's going to move up into third place, and the half-second track limit penalty is just going to take the wind out of the sails of Dougbarrow there, unfortunately, in that battle. And that is the way racing goes. And Dougbarrow, especially for Dougbarrow, he always seems to pick up that late penalty for some reason. And today, it's going to cost him a championship. But 7 seconds back from the pack, he was trying so hard to gain on these guys, but the two 10-10s drivers here doing everything right at the beginning of the race to set up the end of the race. And now the race win is between Pigems and 10-10 Subi Mark here on the racetrack, as Tap and Dougbarrow were fighting it out there for third place. Tap is going to gain that gap on Dougbarrow there with that penalty, and unfortunately there for Dougbarrow, that is probably going to be a fourth place finish here for him today. And we got Pappy in pit lane here. A little bit of a mechanical issue perhaps with the car, that the Happy Pappy car there right at the end of the season, not sure, but in pit lane there. So it is Pigems here. He is got 0.4 of a second over Subi Mark, and this is going to be our final lap here, ladies and gentlemen. White flag on our Audi TT Cup Championship season, and it is Pigems. 1 to go here for the race win and the Audi TT Cup Championship. But can he hold teammate Subi Mark off for the race win? Either way, it will be a championship here for Pigems, but now, can he hold Mark off to win this race here today? Mark is on the bumper. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is for the overall race win here today, and this is between Pigems and Subi Mark. So it is game on as we head up into the uphill S's here. We get around turn number 5. This is now going to lead us into turn 6 and 7. It's essentially 2 corners that you essentially set up as one very elongated double apex hairpin. You kind of just take a very sweeping wide berth around this corner, essentially setting it up as a double late apex corner, and the run up the back straight is everything. Mark's in a decent spot. He's 0.4 of a second in behind. He's in the slip. Is he close enough though to close in on Pigems and make something happen into the final chicane? He is closing, and it's 0.3, 2.27, 0.26. He's not going to be close enough. He's going to have to do it on exit. Oh, he's going to take a look deep. He's going to take a look up the inside, but Pigems is going to defend it off. He's going to close that door on Mark. Seen it coming, and Pigems is going to defend it coming out of the final corner, and it is going to be 10-10 Pigems for the race win, and the Audi TT Cup Championship is going to be Subi Mark in second place. Great race. Right to the checkered flag. Tap gets it done here today in third place. And if there was a Driver of the Day award that goes out here, it would most certainly go to Tap here today. It is Dougbarrow in fourth place. It is Mike 1972 going to bring it home here in a very respectable fifth place here today. Did not seem like he was on his best racing day here today, but great strong finish here for him. That's going to bring Team Rad's Hair Razor around in 6th place. Superboy is going to finish off his cup season in 7th place here today. And it was great racing here by all of our racers on the grid here today. But boy, oh boy, what a great battle there between 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and 5th and 6th there for a very large part of the race as well. Some great battles on the track. Type R is going to bring it home in 8th. We got Bar 27 there in 9th, and Pappy is going to finish it up here in 10th place. And already got the car in behind pit wall there. So definitely something happening for Happy Pappy at the end of that race, and unfortunately having to retire the car early, but will still be awarded those 10th place points no matter what. So congratulations to 1010's Pigems on the race win here today. Is going to be 1010 Supermark in second place. It's going to be Tap taking third place and fastest lap as well here on track today. Doing a little spoiler alert here on our grid. Dougbarrow in fourth, Mike 1972 in fifth. We got Team Rats Hair Razor in sixth. We got Supra in seventh. We got Type R in eighth position. That's going to put Bar 27 in ninth place, and Happy Pappy finishing here in 10th place today. So great job here by all of our racers on the grid and all season long. So with that being said, let's go get into the podium booth and let's go have a little chat with our top three finishers here today. And we may or may not see Pigems here today. Again, he has other events typically going on in sequence, so we may not see our championship winner here today, but that's all right. That one. There we go. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we do have two of our podium interviewees, so we are going to start our interviews right away here today, and then we are going to oh, I didn't even see those messages beforehand. Huh. I had some intel come in from one of the drivers for the race today during the broadcast, but I didn't even see it in time. So let's go ahead and let's go have a chat with our interviewees here, and I'm just trying to get into the booth to see exactly which ones we have here. And we have Mark and Tap. So let's go ahead and we'll start with Tap here, our third place finisher. So let's get this on, turn that down a little bit, and let's hit this button. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are here with our third and second place finisher here. And again, we may not see Pigems come into the booth here. He may be off to his next event here today, but we're going to start with Tap. Tap started off very slow here today. It seemed like he had his Audi set up for that long run in the latter part of the stint here today. And as the car started to get a little bit lighter with the fuel load lighting up and the tires started to really scrub in, it was really when it seemed like Tap's Audi came alive here at Road Atlanta today. And in both of the latter halves of his stints, he really closed the gap on drivers and really had some great battles, and ultimately getting third place at the end of the race with just a few minutes left on the clock there with a really hard great battle there with Dougbarrow, and not an easy customer to get around as you found out on the racetrack here today. But absolutely great racing from you. You were very silent out there, and then you were there with a bang. So talk us through how your race was today, and congratulations on third place here in the finale.
Thanks. Yeah, and congrats to the guys too, Pigems and everyone. And in fact, it was a great race. Doug too. I couldn't help. It was insane. Yeah, no, during the first part I got the cold tire shit happened to me, and then that ended up messing me up a bit. But after that, I got into that little bit of a subtle groove, and then I found a nice attacking spot right at the just after the chicane going up that hill. And oh man, I enjoy getting past people on that spot. It was so much fun.
Absolutely, and it definitely seemed to be your spot of choice on the racetrack here today. We've seen you make a couple of really great passes there. We've seen you make several attempts on Dougbarrow specifically there, and what we've seen was you just check up, you take a nice good short line through that first one, you take a wide entry into that second part leading into the uphill, and that seemed to really give you that good run up the hill and grab that inside position, and that really caught the drivers off guard there. So that was some great battling, but the car, it just again on the cold tires didn't really seem like you were comfortable with it, and then as it started to kind of warm up and it got into those optimal conditions, it was just like you were one with the car and it was seek and destroy. So, do you really feel like if you had a better car on the cold tire part of the stint, do you think you had a shot at potentially winning this race today?
At least the second, maybe, or at least fighting for it all up front more so too as well there. But yeah, without the cold tire issue, yeah, definitely it would have been great. Either way, it was still a great fight. I loved it all right through the whole thing.
Absolutely, and I mean, you and Dougbarrow are no strangers to racing each other here at the GTRC. You know,
I was enjoying all that close racing with them. Oh, it's so great.
absolutely, absolutely great racing out there, and you it seemed like you were kind of learning from his defending there on the racetrack as well as you were battling with him. He was doing a great job at really kind of just placing his car in a spot where you couldn't really get an easy nose to get positioned to try and force that battle. So you really had to kinda think outside the box, and you did that there late in the race. You tried to go with the over under into the kink, and they caught him off guard a little bit. You made a little bit of contact, gave the position back. So
Yeah,
we did notice that a great respect there between the two of you as well. I mean, allowing him to get his car back into
yeah, with the
yeah.
going down the slinky bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
going to allowing him to get his car in the back into optimal condition before re-engaging that battle too. So we just wanted to say that as well. I mean, if there was a driver of the day award out there today, it would be most certainly awarded to you. You had a great performance on the racetrack, and that battle with Doug for the first stint and the last few laps there was just absolutely incredible. So I know you weren't able to get a full season in, obviously due to real life, work and all that great stuff that happens in behind our
yeah.
adult scenes. But a really great season from you when you were out and able to make the track. You had great races. Overall, happy with your performance this season?
Yeah, I'm stellar with it. Very happy as the days go by. When I'm home, it gets better and better. I just try to keep it in mind when I'm off away from work. At least trying to remember the tracks helps a little bit sometimes, especially when I'm bored.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, great result here today, and unfortunately for Dougbarrow, he needed to be right there with Pigems at the front of the pack there to secure his championship here today. So tough racing for Dougbarrow, and the old track limit penalty at the end of the race for Dougbarrow. They're ultimately
Yeah, I didn't notice that because with them, when it gets behind me, I
yeah.
can't see any details with the thing. So yeah.
So unfortunately for him, they're not able to re-engage that battle down to the checkered flag. But great run from you here for the podium
Mm.
in the finale, and I mean that leaves just one more race. Are we going to see you on the Group Two grid next weekend?
There's a possibility. Depends if work calls me within the time or not. If they don't, then I'll be there for sure.
Fantastic. Well, absolutely great racing season. Great third place finish here with a great battle with Doug Burrow. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if Tap can ever get a full championship season in with the group here, he is a contender and could potentially be putting a star on his car too. So, congratulations on a very well ran season for which you could get in and a finale third place finish. With that being said, final remarks and shout outs to the viewers, my guy.
Shout out to everyone in the YouTubes and the Facebooks and you guys up front. But Mark and Piggums, great job, and Doug, everyone else, and you, Tim, and there for keeping up all the great work. Awesome stuff. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys.
Cheers, brother, and thank you for everything you do. We appreciate you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have our championship points winner in here, and I'm not surprised. Again, Piggums has lots on the docket when it comes to racing every weekend. So we do have our second place finisher, 1010 Subi Mark. Now, unfortunately for Mark, he was just a little bit out of the points draw coming into today's race, being 20 points back of our race leaders. Now, he definitely had the pace to be there to win the race today and definitely fight for that championship. Unfortunately, just a couple of rounds gone wrong here this season in the Cup Series just took him out of that chase. But a great job here in the race today. Now, we noticed a couple of things here very early on in the track. You and Piggums got away from the pack fairly early, opened a small little gap, and then you seemed to just kind of hook up and work together for ultimately about the first 40 minutes of this race. And it just seemed like that if one of you made a small mistake or picked up a penalty, you just kind of swapped roles and you continued around the track. Was that the goal coming into today's race, or was that just something that kind of happened as the race progressed from green flag?
So from the start, I knew if I was seeing if I could keep up with him to begin with, because he tends to run away. He's very consistent as well as I, but sometimes I just make a few mistakes. But and then I managed to be very consistent here, and I realised where I was gaining time on him. So I thought, okay, I'm gaining loads of time here, but the main goal was all the time I was behind him and in the slipstream, my tyres felt good, the car felt good every tyre. And when we did swap places, my tyres felt really horrible and the car just felt horrible. So yeah, I was basically just working together. And as soon as he let me by, I was like, okay, I'll take the lead. We'll get a bigger gap. And then when I made a mistake, I just let him by, or if he went by me, I'll just brake early, let him go, because I just didn't want to slow each other down too much for someone to catch up, so we could have a great battle at the end, which we did. It was mega fun.
Absolutely, and really, really waiting to kind of set that up too. I mean, we speculated in about the last, I would say, 8 minutes of the race or so, to about the 5 minute mark, that at what point is it going to become a team game and an individual game? Because the win is still very important for you as well here. I mean, a win, position in hand over Doug, gives you a points gain, and there was a small potential there to potentially find yourself on the overall podium this season. So was that kind of playing in the back of your mind as the timer was running down on the clock here today?
Oh no, I was just out to have fun. But at the end there, the point where it got to where I was going to engage battle, so when I had 5 minutes left, I was setting everything up. I was getting the consistency, making sure I didn't make any stupid mistake. And when it got to 2.5 minutes left, I know we had 2 more laps left, and that's when I was like, right, let's sit right up behind him, and I was going to try and get him on the final straight down there on the last lap, but I got out a bit slow.
Absolutely. You definitely tried to make the move going into that final chicane on the last lap there. You definitely sent it in very late on the brakes, but Pigems seemed to kind of be ready for that, and he had a pretty good response there. He just kind of closed the door in on you, and you had that last ditch effort to try and recharge up the hill to get around, but Pigems just holding the charge off, and the two of you literally finishing nose to tail across the finish line behind each other. So really great racing from you. And I mean, if it's unfortunate you just had a couple of rough races this season, because I think this could have been a four-way fight for this championship title if Mark wouldn't have had a couple of unideal rounds this racing season. But overall, pretty happy with how your season went.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially in these cars. I mean, you've probably seen on my car, it's for sale. These cars are a nightmare for me. I've never got on with them. They are probably one of my hardest cars, front wheel drive cars to drive for me. I just don't get along with them with my driving style. They just don't work.
Well, you survived the season. We did see the car was up for sale. We even made sure to mention on the live stream that if anybody wants to buy a good condition used Audi, to just hit up 1010 Subi Mark, and just keep your ears open. You never know, you might have a buyer. but nonetheless, I mean, really great racing from you this season, and I mean, really, I think your focus now is definitely on next weekend's round of racing with the Group 2 series. Obviously, you've locked down that championship in the Group 2 series here. You have a good points lead, so Nürburgring next week for you. What's your goal there? I guess next week as we head into your final round of racing here for a few weeks at GTRC.
Next weekend's race, I'm just going to have a lot of fun with the other drivers, keep it clean, keep it smooth, and see if we can have fun with everybody instead of running away. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna have a good battle with everyone.
Fantastic. Well, that's what we always love to hear right there, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, congratulations on a well-fought race today. Very strategic race between you and our eventual race winner here, and the final battle between Subi Mark and Pigems. Subi Mark here in second place today. So with that being said, any final remarks on your race here today, and shout outs to the viewers watching at home?
Thanks for everyone watching. I hope you're all having a great time. Thanks to you, Tim, for streaming and everyone's work. And thanks to 10 Temps Racing community and all the racing drivers in GTRC and on the track today. They're all amazing.
Absolutely. Well, cheers on a great win here, or on a great second place finish here today, pardon me. And we'll let you get back to that clubhouse and behind the scenes and go celebrate with the great team behind the scenes.
Thank you, thank you.
And well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our third and second place finishers here for us today. And of course, Pigems off to his next race, but he is going to be officially our TT Cup champion here this season. And if I'm not mistaken, that is going to be his third championship here now at the GTRC. So congratulations to 1010 Sim Racing's Pigems for locking down another championship here, and we'll see if he can defend that title coming in to our next mini championship when that is announced in a few weeks time here from the Gran Turismo racing community. So thank everybody for viewing in today. Thank you to all the racers that come out all season long to put on the great shows. For everybody watching at home, thank you for the continued support to all you amazing men and women and boys and girls at home that come in and watch these great races every week. We would like to thank the administration staff and our stewarding officials behind the scenes at the GTRC for everything they do to keep things moving and grooving in between racing rounds and keeping everything nice and tidy and clean on and off the racetrack. And we just appreciate the whole team that makes these championships go around. It was a great season. The TT Cups cars are always a fun group of cars to race every season, and I can't wait to see what the Gran Turismo racing community is going to break out for our next championship season here. But again, we'll have to stay tuned to our socials to find that out in a few weeks' time when all of that is ready for registration. But in the meantime, we have our Group 2 finale next weekend right here. It's going to be a 1.5 hour event at the Nürburgring 24-hour racing track. We're going to bust out the big track, we're going to bust out some Group 2 cars, and we're going to go have some fun in our Group 2 finale next weekend. So definitely can't wait to see you there. 3 p.m. Eastern Time is when the live stream drops, and that Group 2 action starts at one of the most difficult racetracks in the world, and most certainly one of the most difficult racetracks on Gran Turismo 7. We appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in on behalf of the Gran Turismo racing community and GT45 Gaming. Appreciate all that support this season. Remember, you all matter. Stay winning, and we'll all catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.